Tyre, are you ready? Cool, all right. Let's go.
Box. Box.
Welcome everyone to Box, Season 2, Episode 3. As was the case in 2024, we're speaking to the main players in Formula One about themes that matter in our wonderful sport. Passion, business, travel, change, sport, responsibility, and safety. Those 7 themes are being released across 3 episodes, published 1 week apart. Some things are the same. My friend Tyre here is asking her superb questions, and we have a new segment this year in which we pit our guests against each other. It's called Guess the Race, and we do have a winner. But let's get on with this episode. It's all about business and responsibility. Let's start with business. Formula One is incredibly successful. So let's talk about that with Stefano Domenicali and Toto Wolff. Toto Wolff, welcome to Box. It's great to have you on the show. How are things?
Well, thank you for having me. Really professional setup. Looking forward to intelligent questions, hopefully.
Right, well, let's give it a go. We're here to talk to you about business. So first up, is Formula One a sport or a business to you?
The basis of, I think, any business is a credible foundation. And our credible foundation of the sport is that there is rules. There is a stopwatch that never lies. And as long as you adhere to this, let's say, sport comes first and spectacle follows, then you can create a business. Or this is how a business was created around it by Bernie. And obviously now Stefano running it. One doesn't go without the other.
So how do you define the success of your business, which is Mercedes in Formula One? How do you define the success? Is the only metric silverware?
Yes, so that again, for any normal business person, obviously, or entrepreneur, manager, the matrix that's key is profit. And profit grows. Now, where we differ is, and that I've heard very often people saying I'm irrational. I would give everything for winning. I would give a profit for winning because it just counts more. As a racer, that will always come first. Now, we are now in a day and age where the cost cap has come in. So in a way, you can't spend it all because you have a maximum spend on engineering and on technical capability. So that has allowed our business models, our P&L, to go into great profitability with high margins. But if I could give up the profit of this organization and trade it for world championships, I would do it any minute of the day.
Once a racer, always a racer.
Yeah, irrational, I guess, but I can't, I'm just me. That's my thinking and my wife's thinking.
Toto, so you've said one can't live without the other, that the sport of Formula One can't live without the business and the business can't live without the sport. Looking at you personally, can you imagine a business life without sport?
Well, I've did it for a large part of my life. I was a venture capitalist and investor for 20 plus years, and only that made me go into motor racing in terms of as an investor. I came to Williams by buying shares of Frank Williams and Patrick, and eventually was involved in running the team. And then I came to Mercedes and also being a shareholder, and that's a great honor. So I think I've almost. I almost can't return anymore to conventional business, and I'm not so interested anymore. I have a fantastic office that runs our investments, and my business partner who is great at it, but I lost interest. And I'm probably not as good as I was. So I lost interest because I rather run people that run racing cars.
And how emotional do you get in a business setting? Because in a sporting sense, we know the passion is there. You even say some people accuse you of being irrational because you want to win so much. But when the business hat comes on, do we see a different Toto Wolff?
I have absolutely no emotion on business, and I've never had. I'm prepared to let any deal go if it just doesn't, if the stars are just not aligned. It needs to make sense for both sides. And if that just doesn't go, since I was 18 and I started to do my own businesses, I've always been prepared to walk away because it's not the most important thing in my life. So very much different to the emotional side that I have on the racing. Because in the racing world, I compete against myself. I'm trying to beat my own expectations. And you have to demonstrate them in every session. Free practice is so important for me in qualifying in the races. It's like my life is on the line for each of those sessions. In business, either goes or not, I don't care.
So have you ever turned down a sponsor?
Yeah, actually, when I came to Mercedes, we felt that there was too much clutter on the car, and the variety of sponsors was not, what Mercedes should have, top sponsors, and we encouraged some of them to not renew with us. And over time, that portfolio has become more compact. We like the brands that we work with them, and not every sponsor or not every opportunity we follow up. But sometimes also because it just falls apart. The brands are not aligned, or the terms, we can't come to a common denominator. So the answer is yes, very often.
Okay. Now, Toto, the questions aren't only coming from me today. I would like to introduce you to Taya. She wants to ask you a question. She's prepared 5. So please pick a number between 1 and 5.
1. It's
I kind of
quite
knew
weird.
you were going to say 1.
It's quite weird that we're talking to she as a Taya. If it was a she should not be called Pirelli, but Pirella.
Now that's a detail. You're a detail man as well.
If F1 were a person, how would you describe your relationship?
I would describe the relationship with F1 as just a great, a great friend, but with hard edges in the character. Very competitive, but very aligned in terms of the objectives. It's very difficult for me to respond to a tire and to a question if one was a person. So, yeah, that's a bit irrational for me.
Would the relationship be passionate if Formula One were a person?
Absolutely. I mean, not more passionate than my relationship with Susie, but it would be passionate.
Now, look, back to me now. Your first touch point with motorsport was as a driver. Can you tell us at what point you became aware that there were actually business opportunities here?
Well, as a junior driver, I had to find my own sponsorship. And I made this little map and a presentation, went to the sponsors, and they told them why I was the real, the next Ayrton Senna. And some had pity, gave me some money. Others felt maybe that's a good opportunity. But so from very early on, I had to, see the commercial side of things, because that's just a harsh reality. And then I guess maybe later in life, it was about supporting young drivers and giving them opportunity that I didn't have in that way. So yeah, that's how it went.
So you deal with a lot of drivers now. Do most of them have a good business brain?
There are drivers who understand business well, and you can see growing up through the system, they're always confronted with financial realities. So yeah, I would say mostly they understand. Sometimes they think they understand more than they do, but generally these guys are intelligent.
Who's the hardest driver you've had to negotiate with?
They've been all difficult to negotiate with, because very result driven, very KPI driven, and it's just normal things, and maybe different to a business person. You define your targets, and you don't put too much emotion into it. And with a driver, you need to have a good relationship whilst coping with, harsh decision making.
There's a lot of talk about how much drivers earn. Are the really good ones a bit like you, in that you said at the start, I would sacrifice profit for world championships? Do the good drivers think like that as well?
They say that.
Do they mean it?
I think they want to win world championship and earn a lot of money. And if you think you're the best, or if the results speak you're the best, there's a market, and that's the reality. There's always gonna be a market.
Toto, final one from me. Is there one piece of negotiating advice that you can share with the viewers?
Put yourself into the other person's position. I really enjoyed, since I was very young, sitting on a table with someone to think, what are his or her objectives? And what's a good outcome, what's a bad outcome, and how can we reach a result that is good for both sides.
That's great advice. Now, look, we're going to take you down memory lane now. Bit of a game. I'd like you to look over here, Toto. Guess the race. So I want.
Yeah, I'm so bad. I don't even know where we were last weekend.
So I want a circuit and I want a year from you. They start quite hard and then they get a little bit easier as we go along. Let's have a look at picture number 1. So what are you thinking when you look at that?
I love it. I mean, it's Nick and I miss him very much. So that must be very early on. It's the silver backrest, BlackBerry. That must have been, we started in 2013, but we wouldn't have laughed like this if it was 13. So maybe that is, no, it's 2013. No idea which race. We have jackets. Here's jacket and a pullover, so it must have been cold. Silverstone 2013.
You go straight to Silverstone when you look at the weather, right? You're not right at the minute. Let's go on to picture number 2. That tells you where, doesn't it?
Austria, definitely. It shows that we're coming back to a normal life, that you can show these pictures. Actually, 2 years ago that wouldn't be adequate. So I think it's great. So that is Austria, but I have no idea when that was. Could have been any year. How should I find out? What's the indicator there?
I think you need to look at the next picture, actually. So we're in Austria. Right. What year is that? When you look at those cars, what do they tell you?
2016.
No.
2014.
Why do you say that?
Well, actually, because they're narrow. I forget about everything that happened last week in terms of racing, so I have no idea.
Look, Toto, you're bang on. Let's look at the next picture, just for some fun. Now, 2014, Austria. You do remember what happened that weekend. Why was it so special?
I was still a shareholder in Williams back in the day, and we ended up 1, 2, 3, 4. Mercedes, Williams, and co-owning 2 teams that ended up in the first 4 position, and then having given Frank also the Mercedes engines and having had that success, I remember taking the car back to Vienna, and that's a route that I've done a lot of times when I was a teenager and young racing driver, coming back from the racing school, instructing in the racing school, 0 money, and driving back. And on that day, driving back to Vienna, I thought, that was good.
Toto, you're a man who's achieved so much. Is that the highest point? Is that the peak so far? That race, 1, 2, 3, 4?
I wouldn't want to call a past event as the peak. I think maybe, in terms of sporting results, there's more to come. And it's always dangerous to say, is that one of the highlights? Because we will make summing up the success when I'm 80, if I go that long. Not sure I want to. And then you can say, when I would say to myself, that was good, or it was okay, or it was not good enough. So there's 30 more years to go. That's why I would never write a book. What do you write in there? Until now, and then you write great things, and then it collapses 5 years later. No, not doing that.
But we might not see a 1, 2, 3, 4 for a few years, right?
Yeah, because I don't co-own another team anymore. So that's the difficulty.
Toto, thank you so much for your time. Great to chat.
Thank you very much.
Box, 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 box.
Stefano, welcome to the show again. Great to have you back.
Thank you, Tom.
Now, this episode, unlike last time, is about business. And I wanted to start asking you this. Is Formula One a sport or a business?
Well, actually, I would say today is a business where sport is a very relevant part of it.
You're talking like Frank Williams now. He always
I
used
don't
to
know if he's ever, I have a lot of respect for Frank, but I think that's what it is.
Well, he used to say it's a business apart from 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, I would say that it's not only 2 hours, because to be there for the 2 hours of the race, you have to have a great preparation to make sure that the sport is in the right place in terms of technical regulation, in terms of what the sport has to bring to the crowd. But this is one dimension. But if you look around today, it's much more than that.
So if it's both, if it's a sport and a business, let's break that down. Let's start by talking about Formula One, the sport. When did you first fall in love with F1?
Well, the first time I fall in love with Formula One was in Imola, because I was born in Imola, and I was watching the race at the Curva Tosa with my friends, and I was very, very young. And
What year?
That was around 80s. I was born in 65, and when I was 10, I was already going and watch with my friends, because when you were born or you're born in a city where you were smelling the fuel of that time. Our school were just close to the track. You fell in love with the cars and the bikes. So that was the period.
What did you find so intoxicating about the sport?
Well, of course, at the beginning, you are fascinated by the people that are the heroes on track, but also about the energy that even today, of course, all around the world, people are bringing to the city where you live. So you are very proud to share that with people coming from all around the world. And you would see a city that was living actually in the days of the racing, be part of it, welcoming people, creating business, small or big, whatever it was not relevant, to make sure that they were really embracing this incredible experience.
You then go to university in Bologna. You study business. How useful was that degree? Give all the young fans at home who are studying, how useful is that today?
Well, I think for my case, it was very useful, because at the end of university, I just sent CV to company around my place, and I was lucky enough to be to receive a call from Ferrari, and straight away starting the business there on the fiscality side. But then I start a journey that allowed me to grow transversally in one of the biggest and most important companies of the world.
You go on to be team principal, and knowing what you know now, would you have made any different decisions when you were running the Scuderia?
Well, of course, with the hint of knowing the future, always, I would say that no one can say no mistakes or no different action. But the beauty of not being the best Monday morning quarterback, as in US they're saying, I would say that you take, or I took the decision at that time with the context of situations that you had to manage. Of course, looking back, it would be naive not to say the other way around.
So we talked about the sport, we're talking about the business. How much does entertainment come into the decision-making process now?
Well, entertainment is a very relevant part of what we are offering, because sport is, first of all, has to be an entertainment for the person who's doing the sport. And if you want to be attractive, you need to make sure that around that, the entertainment part of it is part of what we are offering to the people that are coming to the track and to the people that are watching us in all the different channels that we are on. So that's really, really relevant.
And then you spent a couple of years away from Formula One. How important was that period in creating the businessman, the manager that you are today?
Crucial, because when, like in my case, I was just coming from one experience, one company, 23 years. You believe that's the only business model that is applied all around the world, and it is not the case. And it's crucial because I was part of a bigger group, very, very process-oriented, and it was crucial because I discovered something that was not really my background. So when you put all together, this experience makes me stronger in terms of be ready when I was taking this position to take hopefully the right decision in this new journey.
Talking about being ready, can I introduce you to Taya? She has a question. She's prepared 5 of them. Give us a number between 1 and 5.
Let's put 4.
4 it is.
What unexpected post-race food do you crave?
What's the unexpected?
What unexpected post-race food do you crave?
What does it mean, crave?
Do you want? Do you really?
Yes, sorry. Well, for me, it's an easy question because normally either it's before, during, or after it's pizza.
I don't believe you because I know you're a runner. You're a fit man. I don't think it's pizza.
It's absolutely. You have witnessed with me that I can assure you that is my favorite food.
Now, you've always worked in Formula One, actually. I want to expand on this, but you are a sports fan, aren't you? Your football team, Bologna, had a great season last season. You're on the Yannick Sinner Foundation, the board of that. You love basketball, etc., etc. How much does your passion for other sports influence what you do in Formula One?
Well, definitely is influencing because above all in the position that I have today, is relevant that I watch the sport, not only related to the action on the field, on the pitch, whatever it is, but also watching the sport in a much more wider scope. So watching how they are able, the other sport are able to produce attention, business, and attraction in a moment where we need to have this kind of listening mode always open to things that can be helpful to create even better business model in our sport.
Let's give an example then. Football. What could Formula One learn from football?
Well, definitely if you're talking about football, not American football.
Soccer.
Yeah. I would say what is relevant to say is that what is could, and that's why trying to cope with that, be able to be really a social element of the growth at school, in the discussion at all level, in the square, in the pubs, is a cultural element of our life. Therefore, that's something that, thinking big as we should try to think that also Formula One, sooner or later, will be an element like that.
How fascinating. You're a man who's thinking big, you're looking to the future, but for our last element, I want you to think backwards. Guess the race is what we're going to play now, Stefano. And we've got
That's scary. I tell you, that's scary.
Have you got a good memory? This is picture number 1. Is it telling you anything about the year?
Well, I remember Olympus, Fiat. I remember very, very well. I remember the range of the period.
So what era are we talking?
Around the 2000.
Okay, all right. But let's go to picture number 2. We know who that
in the
is.
same period.
Yeah.
I see Vodafone. So I see Vodafone on the mirror. I see AMD. And getting closer. Yeah, around the 2000.
Okay, that's the great Michael Schumacher. Next picture.
I actually a little bit earlier because it was Marlboro. So I think that this is, I'm trying to guess, 2004?
You might well be right. What about the track? Are you seeing anything from the track there?
I recognize the curbs. I'm just guessing. Huh?
Yeah.
I don't recognize the
Okay,
curbs.
next.
700 Grand Prix.
Where was that?
That's a good question.
I think we need another one. There we go.
There we go. This is Spa.
Spa 2004. Michael's
You see?
7th world
You
title.
see that I tried to make sure that you were giving the right answer, but I give you some element that was right.
Look, just give us your memories, Stefano, of that weekend.
Amazing. I remember because I was always trying to be part of the team, even if there I'm with the picture. I was always behind the scene to make sure that the team was doing the Ola for the picture. And that was a very incredible time of our life because we were living together really as a sort of very united team. So only good memories. And this is really great because that year also had the born of my first son. So it's a great memory for sure.
Can you give us a word on Michael Schumacher? What made him so special to work with?
because he was a team member of an incredible team. He knew that he was the best driver, but I never heard him complain about anything if the team did mistakes. He was always with us. We're having a great time also out of the track, and that made him very, very special.
Yeah, he was a great man. Well, Stefano, thank you so much for coming on the show again. It's been great
Thank
to
you.
chat.
Box, 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 box.
The final theme of season 2 is dedicated to responsibility. Let's hear from 2 drivers and a team principal. Fernando, welcome to Box, Box, Box. Is that how you're called into the pits?
Yes, exactly like that.
Box, 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 or just box?
No, normally box, box, box.
I think it must go back to the V10s and V8s when it was really noisy, and in case you didn't get the first box, it was repeated.
It probably, yeah, could be a reason, but yeah, it has been always, yeah, in my case, that, 2 or 3 times repeating the same thing. The same with the white line at the exit. So always I used to have the message from my engineer, pit exit is clear, or there is someone coming on the straight, and remember the white line, remember the white line, remember the white line.
I've got it! Now, Fernando, this episode is all about responsibility, and I wanted to start by asking you just about fame. You are one of the most famous sportsmen in the world. What kind of responsibility comes with that position?
Definitely you have some responsibility and some, or let's say you have to set an example for the younger generations in the way you behave on track, but also off track, that they follow you. And in these days with social media and things like that, you have to take an extra care on everything you post, everything you say. So yeah, I think when you become more and more popular, and you've been followed by people around the world, you have that responsibility of behave and be a good driver, not only on the race car.
And the fame thing first exploded for you in Spain. How difficult was it for you to deal with that at the time?
It was difficult, and still be difficult, I think.
Hashtag 33.
Yeah, exactly. That's not a good thing. I think the fame... being recognized and being popular and being or inspired, younger generation is one thing, and that I think we all love to be part of that. I think the fame or being just recognized on the streets, in the restaurants, in the cinema, in the car, in the traffic lights, everything that we do in the airports, in the hotels, that's a little bit more, less welcome, let's say, because you want to have a quiet life. We are we are in the spotlight here on the paddock and at the races, and when we are away from the racing, we want to be just a normal person, and that's not very possible when you are in Formula One. So that's probably the downside of being popular or the fame.
Now, you have your own management company as well now. You're looking after lots of young drivers, including Gabriel Bortoleto in Formula One. Tell us about that responsibility of nurturing, if you like, nurturing young drivers.
It's more or less the same thing as being famous. You have to behave and you have to motivate them, or you have to set an example on many different cases, and all they have different personalities and different situations. Some of them are just in karting, some of them are in junior formulas, some of them they have a secure budget for the next 3 or 4 years, some of them they have just for 2 more races. So the pressure is very different, and they ask you some questions and suggestions and how to behave, how you approach this situation, how you approach this circuit, or how you approach being beaten in qualifying by your teammate a half a second or whatever. So all of them, they are asking you different things, and they are all in a different situation. So you have to go in their minds first. Some of the situations maybe I was going through in my previous experiences, and maybe I can help them with what I felt at that time and the lessons that I learned at that time.
I'm not sure you know much about being beaten in qualifying by your teammate by half a second. Just saying. But
Half a tenth
okay, half a tenth. mate.
hurts the same as half a second.
Now, look, I've got another question now, and this is going to come from Taya.
right.
She has prepared 5 different questions. Give us a number from 1 to 5.
3 in the middle.
3 it is.
Have you ever changed your routine after a bad result?
Oh yes, 100%. Very superstitious. Try even if I lost a little bit of some of the things that I was doing, I still do the same things before the race. Try to shake hands, even on the grid. You know that sometimes you meet people or ex-mechanics or journalists or whatever. You know, shake hands to the same people that, you know, in some races it was a good result. Even with my family, it was one period of my career, and it was in 2005 actually. We were fighting for the championship, and my mom came to 2 races, both races DNF. And
I know where this story's going.
and then, you know, it was closer to the end of the championship, and we just needed 1 more podium or just 3 more points than Kimi or these kind of things. And obviously all the family wants to be in that moment, you know, when you become world champion. If you go back to Brazil 2005, you will not see my mom in Brazil, because it was, I said, let's do 1 more race, mom. You know, after Brazil, there are 2 more races that you can come, but let's finish this thing in Brazil, you know.
And was she in Brazil 2006?
No.
Yes.
No.
That was when he won his-
No, but now, and she broke that that thing. So now I'm happy, and she was not the problem, because she came to many of my victories. She came to Le Mans 24 hour, and she was able to celebrate with me many wins.
Look, final one from me, Fernando. You have had such a long and storied career. If there's one bit of advice that you would give to a younger driver coming up, what would it be?
I think to enjoy. I think in our days we have tremendous amount of pressure, you know, in the drivers at very young age. I think we have drivers that they start younger and younger, different F1 academies, different programs since karting days and things like that. So I think they don't develop the sense of driving and having fun. They have pressure from 11-year-old or 12-year-old. And I think back then, and what I suggest is that until you are 20, you should not be taken too serious, you know, becoming a professional racing driver. And now I think it's getting earlier and earlier. Parents as well, you know, investing and a lot of expectations in a kid that is not maybe able to take that pressure, you know, on board yet. So that will be my advice.
I'll never forget those 8 podiums that you got a couple of years ago with Aston Martin. That was a very happy Fernando Alonso, even though you hadn't actually won the races.
Yeah, I was happy because I learned to enjoy every moment, and there is no guarantee that, you know, you will get a podium, as unfortunately we are seeing now that after 2 years we still not achieving another one. So yeah, probably another thing that I will probably suggest and tell young drivers is to enjoy every victory, every moment, every podium, because there are no guarantees that you will get that forever.
Carpe diem. Now, you're a man, Fernando, who's got a great memory. I think that's come across in our chat. We're going to end this with what we call Guess the Race. And we're going to do it through a series of pitches. Let's look at
For me, it's
picture.
more difficult because I need to guess 400 plus races.
Well, that's true. There's been a lot.
If you're a rookie and you have to remember 7, it's easier, you know?
Yes, that's true. All right, so this is picture number 1. What are you thinking?
That's 2012 because the nose of the car and the circuit. It's not an easy one, eh? This circuit.
Next picture.
Yes.
That doesn't make it much easier.
Yeah, that's 2012, and it's a very black tarmac.
Yeah.
But we confirm that it's 2012.
You are correct so far. All right, let's next picture.
Okay, this is Spa.
You're going to have to guess again.
No?
Do you want next picture?
Brazil?
No.
Okay, so I need the next picture, but I'm burning all my... Okay,
So it was a win.
Valencia. Yeah,
Go on, show us the next picture as well.
that's Valencia. Got confused by the palms. You know, there was some
Yeah,
palm
true,
tree.
true, yeah. Look, for people who can't speak Italian, tanta roba?
Tanta roba is... that was something special.
And it really was. Just,
Yeah.
Fernando, of all your 32 wins, is that the one that stands out?
Yes.
Why?
Because it was at home. I had some wins in Valencia, but in Barcelona, but Valencia was, circuit, second home Grand Prix, and I never had a good Valencia previously to 2012. And then it is special because it was completely unexpected.
Yeah, you qualified 11th.
11th.
Yeah.
That's how, a Sunday becomes unforgettable, because you enter the paddock thinking scoring some points at the best, or maybe top 5 if something happens in front of you. And I remember when I was close to the podium, I was running 4th or 3rd. I said, wow, we need to secure this position. We just need to defend, to the maximum and just being on the podium. This is historical. This is going to be a magic day. And then when Saturday you win the race, is for sure the best race of my life, probably.
And you shared the podium with Michael Schumacher's last P3 of his career.
Yeah, Michael, Kimi, Andrea Stella. So, it was a perfect day on everything, including the podium.
And this has been a great chat. Fernando, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Box, 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 box.
Gabriel, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on Box, Box, Box. How are you?
Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm doing well. Thank you. Excited to be here. Let's chat a little bit.
Well, the theme of this episode is responsibility. And I wanted to ask you about your responsibilities as a racing driver. Who do you feel most responsible towards when you're in the car? Is it yourself? Is it your family? Is it your team? Is it your fans?
I think the team, to be honest, because they put so much hard work into building the art of a Formula One car. That is for those that see, it's a very difficult car to build. This piece by piece is a very difficult job to do, like building a Formula One car. And when you jump in that car, you want to do the best you can, extract the maximum you have, and you want to make them all proud of you. And at the same time, take care of it, because they took so much care to build the car in a nice way and to make it the fastest possible. When I jump in a car, I want it to treat well, and at the same time be fast and make them proud for all the work they've done. And obviously, then there's myself, because I want to perform. I want to do the best I can to be happy, to my family, to the sponsors, to the fans. But I think that the first thing when you jump in the car, all that people that are working in the team, that many hours that us as a driver, I need to say that we have a very good life, because we have a lot of good facilities during the weekend, and these people are hard working there night after night, and yeah.
Okay, if you're watching everyone back at Sauber, that's a great reply. Can I ask you about the fans? You are the only Brazilian driver on the grid. Do you feel a huge responsibility towards your people?
I do, because in Brazil, you have a very good history in the sport. I think we have quite a lot of world champions. These world champions don't have only one title. They have been probably the greatest of the history. Senna, Piquet, Fittipaldi, and then all the other drivers that have been in Formula One as well, that have done very well. So yeah, I feel like jumping in Formula One after 8 years, I think that Massa left and there was no one else after that. It's a privilege, but at the same time a big responsibility, because you're representing a country that has a lot of history in the sport. So for me, it's something to be proud of, but at the same time pushes me a lot to become a better driver as soon as possible.
The history goes back to Emerson, doesn't it? Emerson Fittipaldi in the early 70s. Have you had any messages of encouragement from Mo?
I need to say that I had a joke with Emerson that was fun because every time last year that he came to a race, I won or I finished in the podium, and was a very important moment for the championship. And was the same for Formula 3 when I won the title. So I always joke with him and about that and say, please come more to the races. But he's a great guy, and we have spoken already a bit. It's a bit of a long time that I don't see him. But last times I've seen him, he always gives very wise advices to me. A guy that has so much history in the sport, and honestly, the guy that before him there was already, but I mean the guy that opened the door for the world to show what is Brazil in Formula One.
Next section, Taya here has a question for you. She's prepared 5 questions. So if you say a number between 1 and 5,
5. My
5
number.
it is. Let's go.
What unexpected post-race food do you crave?
I mean, after a race, you lose so much calories. I think you can take a nice dinner normally, yes, or a nice chocolate bar, something like this. Nice Kit Kat.
Oh, you rebel.
So, sorry?
You rebel having a chocolate bar, but yeah.
Yeah, sometimes, especially after a tough race. But no, I think I love Brazilian food. Unfortunately, I cannot have it every post race. But rice, bean, a nice beef. I love it.
I remember after Interlagos last year, I was in a churrascaria on the Sunday night in Sao Paulo, and
That's the best.
Gabriel Bortoleto was in the same restaurant Sunday night.
Oh yeah, true, in the Grand Prix.
Yeah,
Okay.
But you weren't driving. You weren't driving that day.
No, but I will eat anyway. Driving or not driving, Brazilian food is unstoppable. It's so good.
Look, there was one last topic I wanted to ask you about, and that is Fernando Alonso, a legend in his own lunchtime. He's your manager. What is the best piece of advice that Fernando has given you?
Look, he gave me many, but what I want to say is that the best advice he gave me was not with words, but with attitudes that he has done. And Fernando, just the way that he behaves, many times you see some stuff in the TV. Okay, it's nice for the show, but Fernando, who knows him really, is a guy that doesn't give up at any cost. And he's such a hard-working and so motivated about racing, about the future, and he'd never give up. And I think that's the biggest learning I have from him, is especially right now, in my starting career in Formula One, is to see a guy that is so many years in Formula One, already 2 times world champion, still so much so motivated, even if he doesn't have a winning car right now. So I mean, that's a big advice that he didn't give to me, but he shows to me very constantly on the daily life.
What is it like for you as a 20-year-old racing him on the same racetrack?
It's funny. It's funny, to be honest, because it's like the guy that, I was born, he was already in Formula One, so that's a big topic, and not calling him old, just saying, and it's amazing, I'm fighting against Fernando Alonso, legend of the sport, and a great guy over all of this, and it's just important that we don't crash, because we almost crashed in Jeddah, so...
That was a close one.
That was a very close one.
What did you say to each other after that?
Well, first I look at him and I was almost laughing, and I didn't know what to say. I was a bit like, I didn't see you, sorry. And then he was just laughing, and luckily we didn't crash, so it was a close one. I think if we crashed, maybe the thing was going to be different. But he just made a joke like, "Oh, no dinner for you tonight in the plane."
On the plane, actually,
yeah. But then I had dinner. Don't worry. But it was it was funny. Just he was easy with it. He knows I didn't see him. We were in a train of 3 cars, and then I defended for one, and I didn't see him. So happens.
That was a memorable race. And let's end our chat with another game. It is called Guess the Race. And if you have a look over here, you'll see 5 pictures come up. And we want to see how quickly you can guess what race we're referring to, okay? So let's start this off with picture number 1.
This is...
You have 4 more.
Yeah, no, but I know where this is because this is my old helmet. So or it's Australia or what is the first round? Is it Jeddah?
I think you need picture number 2.
Yeah, picture number 2. Let's go. Ah, come on! I have done so many of these during the year. How am I supposed to know this?
It's
This
meant
is
to be hard.
okay. Monza.
Why are you saying Monza? Let's have picture number 3 just to...
Monza.
There you go. The Ascari chicane, isn't
Okay, that one was Imola.
it? The previous one was
Yeah.
Imola. How can you tell that interview is Imola?
Because I was happy, very happy. It was probably after my pole. So
Now look, you've had many important races in your life, but Monza 2024, when you went from the back to the front to reignite your championship challenge in Formula 2, was that the most important race of your career so far?
I think so. Yes, I think so because it was a moment, that after quali we were all like, we were quite a lot behind Isaac still in the championship. I was already second, but like, I need to do a very good race here. And still, like, will be difficult to win the championship if I win the race and starting last. And Isaac was like second, so we were like, okay, maybe it's over now. You do the best you can, score the points, but it was a difficult one. And then, in the race start, just flying from lap 1 and having great pace and won from last. Isaac didn't score any points that race, and the championship completely turned over. And I almost took the lead in that race. The next race, I took the lead of the championship, but it's also. Like mentally for the other competitors, crazy to think that you start last and you finish first. It shows that how strong you and the team are, and this was like a statement. Like we are here to win, I think, and was very important also for my future in Formula One. I believe
it was that moment when the Formula One pit lane couldn't stop talking about Gabriel Bortoleto.
Hopefully, I don't know. You were here. You were here more than I was. So,
Gabriel, what a great chat! Thank you so
Thank you
much
very much
for coming on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Box, 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 box.
James, great to have you on the show. Thank you for your time. How are things?
They're good. Always enjoy being back at the track.
Now, this episode is about responsibility, and you are team principal of one of the most historic teams in Formula One. Tell us about the weight of responsibility that comes with that.
So the first and foremost is I have a responsibility to around 1,100 people. The success of the team is never driven by one person, but what I mean by that is that I want for each and every one of those individuals the ability for them to feel success, to feel what it's like to win. And I feel that on my shoulders. And probably as significantly, not more, but as significantly, I'm incredibly privileged to be in one of the most successful Formula One teams of all time. And I feel a responsibility towards Frank to carry on his journey and do good by what he has done.
Well, you have the same office as Frank. Can you remember day one a couple of years ago when you sat down behind that desk?
Yeah, it's a funny story because I initially, when we were coming, we were talking about what office do you use? And actually I was the one suggesting let's not use that. It's a historic element of the team and I want to preserve that. It was the other way around. The team actually was the one asking me to take it because it's a good time to accept that we have an incredible past, but let's build our future together. And it meant a huge amount to me. And so the first time I ever got in there, and it's been a few times since, I've had a few drivers who knew Frank as well. And you can see when they come in, their eyes light up because it means something to them at the same time. But for me, it represented that this is a serious journey and one that I have to do good by in order to honor his name.
You just said you have a responsibility to Frank to continue Williams' journey. If you had one question that you could ask Frank today, what would it be?
I'd ask him what he thought the key to success in his position was, because I never got the opportunity to ask him that. But what he is, when he was certainly here and with us, Williams was top 2 in the sport in terms of success, which means he knows how to breed success. And I never knew what really drove, what he thought the key to that was. And I'd be interested to know what it is.
It'd be fascinating, wouldn't it? Can I introduce you to Taya?
Hi,
she
Taya.
She has pre-prepared 5 questions. Give us a number between 1 and 5.
I'm more impressed that we have a Taya that's preparing questions. They are getting better and better by the day. Number 3.
A lot of people say 3.
If F1 were a person, how would you describe your relationship?
Intense, probably. You have some of the most incredible
feelings you can ever feel in Formula One. They really, when you have success against all odds, when you're on the back foot and you come through, the feeling it generates in everyone on the team, you can see it and emotional on TV, is extraordinary. The converse to it is the complete opposite. It's painful, is the right way of describing it, when things don't go well. So it's a relationship just amplified, and it's intense.
You say things don't go well. Things seem to be going very well for Williams at the minute. Just think of the journey you've been on over the last 2 years. You've gone from the back to the front of the midfield. How difficult is the next bit, the journey towards podiums and race wins?
It gets more and more difficult as you go through. So breaking into the top four as it is now, really, which is what we're knocking on the door of, is tough. And you can see that the gaps just go up another level. But that was always the journey we were on, and the investment we're making wasn't to be top of the midfield, it was to break into that top three. So tough, but not impossible.
Brilliant. Well, look, James, it's been lovely to have you on the show. Thank you. Can we end it with what we're calling Guess the Race?
Yeah, of course.
We want a year and a track. Let's have picture number 1. What are you thinking? What clues are you getting from that?
Not Monaco. So the fact that Pirelli's there with the tricolor, I remember this well. The problem is I'm trying to remember the tracks where that took place. So the real clue is obviously the Pirelli sponsorship that's in the bottom of it. It's quite a wide street track. It's quite a wide track.
Does that car give you any clue as to the year?
I mean, yes, because Nico's in it. So we're now I think Nico's in it anyway. It looks a little bit yellow on the helmet.
I think we need to see the next picture.
Oh,
not Nico.
Not Nico. Thank you for demonstrating that to me.
What are you thinking now? Still think it's a street track?
So a couple of things. We're on the Hypersoft there, as I think it was called at the time, with the sort of outline on the tyre shape. So that's already a first clue into it. So you only run that when you're at circuits that have reasonably low energy. So that's sort of step 1 to it. Step 2 is you can see Valtteri's in there. So we are...
Should we have next picture?
In a range... I've got the years now, at least. Wow, the cars look really old back then, don't they?
They do. Look, does that help you with the track?
No, because as far as I go, you've given me 3 different tracks here as far as I can see. No, I'm kidding. It's clearly not. I'm really trying my best to give you the years on it, though.
Can I give you a clue?
Yes, I'd love one.
Valtteri, it's James.
Yeah, the problem is, so one of my initial responses I'm going to tell you was Sochi. And the reason for it, if you go back 2 images, is actually that sort of gave me the appearance of it. I just couldn't remember the Pirelli sponsorship in that particular corner. That was actually what was causing me trouble. And Valtteri's James happened twice. One of them was definitely Sochi. There was a second event. I don't think it was that. So I'm going to guess Sochi.
And the year?
I can't remember if it was... So you're between the range of 17 to 19, so in that ballpark there. And I'm going to say 2018, but that's a guess.
Boom, you've done it. Well done. Just before you go, how difficult is a moment like that? So Valtteri, it's James. Can you let Lewis through? Lewis wins the race. Valtteri finishes second. How difficult was that for you to deliver that?
So you know the implication of doing it, because you're asking a driver that's done... a good job to effectively put the team in front of themselves. Now with Valtteri, he and I have a really good relationship. We did before this, we do after this as well. It may not seem that way, but we do, absolutely. And a lot of the hard work was done not in the car, outside of the car. So he and I discussed many times over, this is what could happen in the circumstance, and this is what the result of it would be. And by doing that, you've created the foundation that allows us to initiate the change. It's still hard, it's still difficult, and it's still something that I think made me into who I am today, because it does create strength when you can do it correctly.
What a great chat. Thank you very much,
Thank
James.
you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's it for season 2. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you've learnt something about this incredible world of Formula One. That's all for now. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Box, box, box.